Good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining us for West Valley Open for Business Tour. We're so excited, virtual tour actually. We're so excited to be featuring the City of Glendale and the incredible investment that Globe Corporation is making in that community in the first Class A office project in the West Valley. So before we kick things off.
Sorry to interrupt, you said Glendale.
Goodness, did I really? We'll definitely have to edit that one out. In Goodyear. We have several elected officials and board members joining us this morning and this afternoon, and I guess that's probably why I kind of messed up. Y'all made me a little bit nervous. So joining us today, we have State Representative Joanne Osborne, Goodyear Mayor Lord, Goodyear Mayor, Councilmember Kano, and Councilmember Campbell. From the City of Glendale, I'm sure he was excited about that statement, Vice Mayor Malnar. And from the City of Surprise, we have Vice Mayor Judd joining us today. We also have several Westmark board members that I'd like to recognize. Our Chair-elect, Neil Terry, Ron Castro, Sebastian Porcini, who's our treasurer. We have John Graham with us today, Herman Orcutt, Bobby Magdaleno, Rick Dirks, and Stephanie Fogelson. So thank you all for joining us. We're really excited about this project in the city of Goodyear. And I will now turn it over to our moderator, who is Mike Hoover. Mike is the Economic Development Committee co-chair, and so he's been leading this effort for a number of months. And just a note about this program. We kicked this program off during COVID, because we wanted the opportunity to bring projects to folks out there because no one else was driving or traveling or things like that. We were all kind of locked down. But we knew with its immediate success that this would remain a permanent program. So we're excited that this is now a permanent program that will be housed out of the Economic Development Committee. And at this point, I will turn it over to Mike Hoover.
Hey, thank you, Centra. I am so excited today to have a really well-built program about an incredible public-private partnership. So as Centra said several months ago, when we were trying to figure out how to connect with the West Valley communities and the wonderful activity that's happening here in the West Valley, this was a kind of a really interesting, innovative way to try to do that. And what we discovered is this is a really sustainable way to have really just some of the best and the brightest in the West Valley and really throughout the region learn about the West Valley assets, but also to be able to promote the West Valley assets that are coming out of the ground. So we've had over a half dozen cities get to present with their colleagues in the private sector about different projects, whether it be in retail, industrial, or housing. But what's so special about today, this is one of the first times I think we were actually going to see, I would say, public-private partnership with all capital P's, and I can't tell you how excited I am to do that. So to kick off the conversation today, we're going to bring in Cathie Teeter from CBRE to really kind of set the stage of why we're seeing the success here in the West Valley and really how we're going to start to be able to build on really what the West Valley has become. So Cathie, feel free.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate being here. CBRE is very, very pleased to partner with Westmark and Globe and all of the economic development people in the West Valley. And we do a ton of business in the West Valley, so very, very pleased to be here. So yesterday, Ashley Brooks and I were talking about the Why West Valley event that we held in the CBRE office earlier this year. And the event was held on February 6th. We were joking that living in COVID time is a little bit like marriage. Sometimes it feels like yesterday, and sometimes it feels like forever. So way back on February 6th, I showed this slide, if I can get it to advance here. KJ, you may need to be advancing these. There we go. There we go. I showed this slide depicting traffic flows from the West Valley during peak traffic times. Now, since then, many people have shortened their commute time to the 8 seconds that it takes them to get from their bedroom to their home office. CBRE recently surveyed 30,000 office workers, and one thing is certain. Employee tolerance levels for long commutes has not gone up during this time. After working remotely for what could be over a year, I can pretty much say with certainty that employees' tolerance for a long commute will have gone in one direction, and that is down. In fact, saving commute time is one of the top benefits people listed about working remotely. So without going too far out on a limb, it's pretty safe to say that if companies want their employees to come to the office to build culture, collaborate with their colleagues, and increase productivity, they're probably going to need to bring the office closer to the employees. So where are the employees? The West Valley boasts a young, growing population. More than 1/3 of Phoenix metro residents live in the West Valley. And that population is projected to grow at twice the national rate during the next 5 years. The median age in the West Valley is 34.8 years old, younger than both the national and Phoenix metro median ages. These favorable demographics translate into an availability of talent across various types. Access to talent is number one on the list for virtually every major company that we work with, and it makes sense. On average, the cost of labor is 7 times that of real estate. We'll go into a little bit more detail about this one, but the talent story is a huge, huge strength for the West Valley. CBRE Labor Analytics team puts together these heat maps showing some of the more robust concentration of workers who live in the West Valley. The data is pulled from CBRE's proprietary system utilizing a combination of resources, including Bureau of Labor Statistics. In this map, it's a little tough to see, but the yellow lines are the freeway system. So the 303, the I-17s along the right side of the map. The various colors represent the density of how many workers reside within a square mile. The light blue represents fewer than 50, and the dark gray represents more than 300 workers living within a square mile. And the green star represents the optimal location based on a 30-minute commute for that particular skill. In this case, we're looking at healthcare skills. Healthcare is the West Valley's leading industry. 38% of all healthcare workers in Maricopa County live in the West Valley. ACOS just completed phase 1, a 68,000 square foot Class A medical office building and surgery center. Given the explosion of telemedicine during COVID, they are immediately moving on to phase 2, a mirror image second building. The West Valley has several medical clusters, but one of special note is the healthcare corridor along McDowell Road, which spans from Phoenix through Avondale and Goodyear. West Valley is also home to Banner Estrella Hospital, Phoenix Children's Hospital, IMS, ACOS, Abrazo West Campus, Adelante, as well as Cancer Treatment Centers of America. The next one we're going to look at is the very robust finance and accounting workforce. FinTech is the second leading industry with 34% of those workers living in the West Valley. During the pandemic, when most advanced business workers telecommuted, West Valley cities saw an increase in sales tax collection. That's a really strong indicator of how much this industry contributes to the local economy. And finally, insurance and claims skills. The insurance and claims skills map is also very compelling. When we pulled this data, we were looking only at the higher level jobs in the insurance business, such as underwriters and claims adjusters. This map shouldn't surprise anyone who's in the insurance business, since the I-17 corridor has long been home to companies like Farmers Insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, USAA, and others. I also wanted to touch really briefly on the housing in the West Valley. This map shows select high-end single-family and multifamily housing communities in the West Valley. CBRE has a very, very active multifamily team, and they've pulled together a lot of great data for us. The green markers represent multifamily, the blue single family. The multifamily complexes built prior to 2020 have a combined vacancy rate of 3.6%, which suggests strong demand for luxury and rental units. 3 of the 20 top-selling master plan communities in the country are in the West Valley. They are Tartesso and Verrado in Buckeye, and Estrella and Goodyear. We've all read in the news that home values are rising across the entire valley, but for the most recent 60 months, most of the West Valley saw home values increase at a faster rate than the Metro Phoenix as a whole. The luxury home market in the West Valley has been growing, offering a wide range of housing options for executives and middle management. And if you haven't driven through some of these communities in a while, I highly encourage you to do so. They are really beautiful. And of course, as Sintra always points out, the West Valley checks all of those quality of life boxes with exciting sports venues, lots of outdoor environments to enjoy, and of course, a very fun nightlife with concerts and tons of activities to choose from. And now I will turn the presentation over to George Getz.
Hey, Cathie, this is Mike. Real quick before George gets started, can I have just a quick follow-up question about how your presentation started with employees and their relationship to the workplace? Now, is CBR back in the office, and kind of what has been the employee response to that for you guys?
Sure. CBRE returned to our office on September 21st, and we were one of the last competitors to do so. We occupy 3 floors at the Esplanade, and by the way, the Esplanade's done a beautiful job of getting the complex ready for us to return. But we have to access elevators to get to our space, so that made people a little bit nervous. Since reopening, we take it on a reservation basis. So we have an app where employees go in, select the days they want to come in, they do their daily health check-in to make sure that they're feeling fit and well to go to the office. And the broker reservations have been filling up most days. It's been a very, very successful reentry. We have a social, very interactive culture. Our space is beautiful, and employees have a lot of options within the space. We are a 100% free address environment, so nobody has an assigned desk. People can self-select an office if they choose to have an office that day, or they can sit in the open space. We have strict health protocols. Ashley's actually sitting in the office right now, so you can see people moving around. We don't require masks at our desk, but when you're moving around the space, we do ask that employees wear a mask. CBRE's narrative really has started off with a mandated remote working if the duties allowed for mandated work at home. It then changed to encouraged from mandated, and now it's allowed. So employees are allowed to work remotely, but many employees are electing to come into the office.
So this kind of dovetails. So you're on the front line with your own employees, but also the ripple effect of what you're going to see in your own business environment. What kind of transaction activity are you seeing kind of in this, we'll just say uncertain time or changing time?
Mm-hmm. Well, and Ashley can speak to this as well, but overall, activity dropped dramatically in traditional office sectors at the beginning, especially. Large deals have been fairly quiet. If employees or if companies could wait and pause their decisions, they did so. But we have seen a bump in activity post-Labor Day. In particular, tenants have been showing interest in move-in ready spaces. Spec suites have been really popular for a few years, and that trend certainly continues. We do anticipate some challenges in the short term for office while companies seek a better understanding of how remote work is going to impact employee productivity. And I do think that productivity is absolutely key, because employees surveyed indicated that the majority of workers prefer having the option to work remotely at least part of the time, but they also have indicated that they don't want to give up their office space and their collaboration with their colleagues. Multifamily has held up very, very well, and industrial obviously has been a very big winner during COVID crisis, primarily due to the increased need for distribution space. After just a very short lull of a couple of weeks, many of our industrial brokers are as busy as they ever have been, and retail has been surprisingly resilient in certain sectors. Quick service restaurants and auto service shops especially increased their activity in July and August and continue to do well. And grocery appears to be pandemic proof. So lots of differences depending on the type of product.
Well, thank you for the quick overview on that. We get asked quite a bit, and you're obviously on the front line, so thank you.
Sure.
George, Cathie started to introduce you before I had those questions. Are you ready for to kick off your part of the conversation, sir?
I'm ready to go. If I'm off mute. Yep, I'm ready to go. Thanks, Mike. Thanks to everybody for turning into this webcast. We are really excited about this project and our partnership with the City of Goodyear. Our family in Globe Corporation has owned roughly a section of land in Goodyear since the early 70s. So that's coming up on 50 years. It was just a nice little farm in the middle of Goodyear Tire and Rubber's overall properties in the burgeoning city of Goodyear. For several decades, we actually leased the property to the Eaton family, who we bought the farm from, and they planted and harvested scallions there for a number of years. That's right, scallions here in Phoenix. In the late 1990s, we were approached by many large home building companies to sell the entire property, which was tempting, frankly, but I wanted to create something more special, more mixed use and equal to or greater to the benefit of Goodyear and the surrounding area. So over the past 25 years, we have developed over 220 acres of residential product, both single family and multifamily housing. We've developed a 58-acre retail center, the market at Estrella Falls, a 100-acre sale to Maceridge for continued retail and mixed-use development, including the already opened Harkins, which has now been open for a couple of years, and a new Cheddar's restaurant, which is on the corner. All the off-sites have been completed and dedicated, including the 54-acre Bullard Wash, which runs down pretty much through the middle of the property, and 53 acres of dedicated streets. The next phase of development will be Civic Square. This 47-acre mixed-use development, as you are about to see on a video, will be truly exceptional. This partnership with the City of Goodyear and Globe began a couple of years ago when the collective minds of the city and Globe got together to come up with a new City Hall, Civic Park, multi-tenant Class A office building, and believe it or not, the first ever parking garage in the city of Goodyear. Working together to reimagine a mixed-use, private-public partnership incorporating government use and corporate office is really a first for the West Side and maybe even the entire valley. The energy this will create for an already quickly developing city of Goodyear will develop a true downtown for the city, a place they have always wanted. Phase 1 will consist of 225,000 square feet of office. The city will build 125,000 square feet, and we will spec 100,000 square feet. A 2-acre fully amenitized park and a 908 stall parking garage. All of this will begin construction in the first quarter next year, 2021, and be completed by summer of 2022. Phase 2 will follow shortly with additional retail, office, and vertical residential. And with this, more details and descriptions of the City Hall and Civic Square will now be introduced by Julie Arundel, the city manager, unless Mike, you've got any questions for me. Julie? Or Mike, or either one?
Thank you for the historical background on that. I didn't realize that was a farming site for so long. That's beautiful.
Yep, sure was.
Very good. Thank you, George. The city of Goodyear is incredibly grateful for the wonderful relationship and partnership that's been formed with the Globe Corporation. And this is truly a special moment in time for Goodyear. So we do have a video that I'd like to play, and then I'm going to go ahead and just speak over it and describe the project and what it means to Goodyear in a little bit more detail. It's still buffering, huh? We're going to try that again.
We're getting some backup on that. Hang on one second, Julie.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. All right. So Goodyear, Arizona is a growing, vibrant community in the West Valley, and we're an easy 20 minutes from downtown Phoenix and Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. We also benefit from the wonderful transportation corridors from I-10, the 101, 202, 303, and the future I-11. The project that we're sharing today was first envisioned by Goodyear officials in 1984. And it was envisioned to have a city hall with mixed use, a unique and walkable project that would create the heart of Goodyear. The location that we're sharing with you is located with McDowell to the south, Monte Vista to the north, the improved Billard Wash to the west, and 150th Drive and Harkins to the east. It's a true public-private partnership between Goodyear and Globe. And we believe that the public city investment in the city hall will be a catalyst to activate the entire area. What you're seeing right there is the Goodyear Civic Square Park. It's 2 acres, a public place to gather with friends and family for festivals, concerts, parades, creating a sense of pride and hometown feel for our community. It's also a welcome amenity for the office workers in City Hall. Right there, you are seeing the Globe office building, a Class A 3-story, 100,000 square foot, which will be delivered spec at the same time as City Hall. As George mentioned, this is the beautiful parking garage, which will be the very first parking structure in Goodyear. Our partners at GPEC share that more than 80% of Class A office locates one existing space, and that's just currently not available in Goodyear right now. So we're unable to compete for the high quality of jobs that we'd like to offer our residents. What you're seeing now is the back of City Hall. It is a 4-story, 125,000 square foot building where we'll offer consolidated public services, council chambers, a beautiful 2-story library that's 20,000 square feet with a cafe and community rooms. You can see that the project embraces not only the improved Billard Wash to the west, but of course the beautiful new Civic Square Park. The Goodyear population is nearly 89,000 residents, and we're only 11% built out. We're experiencing phenomenal growth. In fact, we're the 14th fastest growing community in the nation for the census of cities over 50,000. The high quality of life in Goodyear attracts residents with the highest education levels and household incomes. Our median household income in Goodyear is over $80,000 per year, which is the second highest in the region, second only to Gilbert, of cities of more than 10,000 residents. And our residents love Goodyear. 95% in our last resident survey rated us as a good or great place to live. And last year, Money Magazine rated Goodyear as the 22nd best place to live in the US. But our census data shows that we export 90% of our workforce every day. And it's one of our council's top priorities to attract high office quality jobs to our community to improve our residents' quality of life. We have the workforce, as Cathie showed, just look at I-10, that's where they're headed every morning. And in fact, due to the transportation corridors, we have 1.5 million available workforce within a 30-minute commute of Goodyear. And it's a reverse commute. Globe has done the research, and their partnership on this project to bring Class A spec office to Goodyear is a true testament to their belief in our market. And we are a great partner to business. In fiscal year 20, companies invested $1.35 billion with a B in capital in Goodyear, creating more than 3,300 jobs and 5.6 million square feet of development. And for you football fans, that's 97 football fields. And just last week, the Arizona Chamber selected Goodyear as the 2020 best city to do business. The first phase of this project, as George mentioned, is the City Hall, the park, the office building, and the parking garage. We are nearing design completion, and this exciting project will have its groundbreaking in April of 21. And yes, construction starts the first quarter, but we're doing our official groundbreaking on April 21 and the ribbon cutting in summer of 22. It's a great time to be in Goodyear.
Julie, thank you for the video and the wonderful narration. As the co-chair on the Economic Development Committee, I want to first thank you and George for delivering spec office in the West Valley that can bring employment not only for Goodyear residents, but for really the whole West Valley. So the question I have for you is this is a significant project for the West Valley, but also is going to connect with your residents in a very different way. What should they be excited about from a residential perspective?
So our residents in our growing community are hungry for more restaurant, retail, and entertainment. And what we're missing in that part of the equation is daytime density. So the partnership and the creation of this program is going to bring an area of Goodyear where we're going to have daytime density. We're going to have the office workers at City Hall. We're going to have the office workers in the Class A office building. And as Bo's going to talk about, we see over 140,000 visitors to our library annually. So we're creating a dynamic which is going to draw the density to this area, which we believe is then the catalyst for a natural investment from the market for additional retail, restaurants, and entertainment. But in addition, you know, as a newer growing community, we don't have a true downtown. We don't have a community gathering space. We have a beautiful ballpark and we hold a lot of great events there. But by creating this civic square, we're now going to be able to hold, you know, art festivals and food truck Fridays and really have an area for our community to come together and to show their pride in Goodyear.
What I love about it is you have both the business community, the residents, and the seat of government all nestled into that 2-acre park area where they really can collaborate and get that full benefit. It's a beautiful video, and congratulations to not only the city of Goodyear, but to everybody involved in the project. We're real excited to see this come out of the ground. And as I've always said, as a surprise employee, but also more importantly as Economic Development Chair, every win by one of our West Valley colleagues is a win for a resident in the West Valley. And this is kind of the catalyst project that we've needed on the office side. So if there's anything the Economic Development Committee can do to support your efforts in promotion and communicating this message, we're very glad to help.
Thank you, Mike. And I truly believe it's a matter of first in. We have the workforce, and I think you're going to hear that a lot through our time together today. We just need that first person, which is the Globe Corporation, to believe in the numbers, to believe the story, to make the investment. And we believe with that first locate, probably 10 years from now, I think the West Valley will look very different from an office perspective. So very exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful to be a part of. So thank you again. And I think we're going to transition the conversation over to Ashley to talk a little bit more about the promotion of the project.
Thanks, Mike. So Jeff Cupworth of Butler Design Group and myself were assigned the task of what office tenants want. Unfortunately, I was working from home 6 weeks ago, and I heard what office tenants don't want. So I've got 3 quick slides to share with everyone that's logged in. Thank you. The first is this lovely gentleman. Who hasn't been working from home when the industrious neighbors decided to cut their grass right before you have a big presentation? I mean, it could have been the dog barking, it could have been the Amazon delivery person, but I thought this was an accurate slide to predict one thing that office tenants don't want in the future. How about KJ, next slide, please. So the next one, which we experienced on this very call, is IT problems at home. You have the knocked over trike in the background and the screen has gone kaput. Typically when this happened to me, sorry, Cathie, I would take the dog for a walk and then come back and hope it solved itself. And then the third thing that office tenants don't want, and this was based on a survey I did over the past couple weeks, please, next slide. This is when your child comes in, elementary school, junior high, or high school, and invariably with an innocuous question to help on homework, and you don't know the answer. So these are three things that office tenants don't want. Now that I'm back in the office, Jeff and I actually put together 3 real slides on what office tenants do want. Jeff is going to cover the first one, and I'll cover the second one, and then we can answer some questions.
Thanks, Ash. Very good. We needed a little levity. I think we're all, we're all trying to figure out, what the office market's going to look like, how we're all going to work. I think my theory has always been there's going to be a big reaction. I think there'll be an overreaction, and then we got to, take some time to kind of settle back into where we're going to end up. But we've had a blast with this. Really enjoyed working with Globe, the city of Goodyear. We've been the designer in both City Hall as well as the Globe office and the park. Here's another shot of it. You saw it in the video. It all starts with location. I think Cathie and everybody already talked, kind of on location, but, obviously, the closer you can live to work, the better, reducing the commute. And I think anybody that's had to, go, to or from Goodyear for meetings, I'd say the best part of, COVID, Julie, has been, no meetings out at the city of, Goodyear at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for those of us coming from the Valley. But I think just the ability, you see that traffic and just the ability to work, close to where you live is just an awesome opportunity for the West Valley. Second piece is parking. I look at this shot right here, and if you think about it, you got 100,000 square foot Class A office building. Behind you, with a few feet away, you've got a 900 car parking garage. You're parking in the shade, conveniently located, know where you're going every day, and then, to be able to walk out your front door and have a 2-acre park. You got some music going on Friday afternoon, just the activities, the food truck opportunities, like Julie was talking about, and, amenities close by, just some of the, the restaurants and the retail and other things that I know that George and Mike, are working on, right now. I think this to create a true hub of activity, in the West Valley is going to be great. And, then you turn around and, to the west, you got a really cool civic building, it's going to be full of people and vibrancy every day. I think it just really, shows how critical the location, is going to be.
Regarding a specific workspace, what Jeff and the Globe team and the Rhine team tried to design was basically something with a lot of natural light coming into both common spaces and particular office space with views. They also, since the future is a little bit unknown, tried to design flexible space planning so we can have open offices like I'm here at CBRE, or closed offices like Mike and George are at Globe. So flexibility in terms of planning, with paying special attention to the design applications, which will encourage some collaborative efforts. We know that those have been a little minimized due to COVID and work from home and masking up, et cetera. But at some point, we think those are going to break free. So we still need those collaboration spaces. We also know that users, no user thinks like the next user. And so we might have some open plenums and we might have some finished ceilings. And then we also have some balconies designed to get some fresh air. The third slide for Jeff and myself, basically some of the details that we've tried to work into the concept. And this is basically the hands-free social distancing type healthy workspace and workplace practices, safety is a big concern right now for most office users. Health and wellness also is. So the next detail will be something, bike racks, walking and bike trails, fitness and shower facilities that are close, basically supporting a healthy lifestyle and an outdoor lifestyle. The common areas, both outside and inside, and cool break areas that can provide relief from the day-to-day grind of office work. And then last but not least, basically signage opportunities that are both wayfinding for corporations, and then the things that we've seen recently that will talk about hands-free type apparatus and how many people to an elevator, et cetera. So the fact that signage is probably going to be upgraded in terms of something that an office tenant is looking for in 2020. Jeff, I think we can hand it back to Mike Hoover, and we're open to any questions Mike or anybody in the panel may have.
Hey, real quick question. It's really interesting. We're talking about the design and then the promotion of the project, and you started to touch on it, how it's going to be delivering kind of we'll call it a more healthy environment. How much of that was had, for lack of a better word, had to be reconsidered over the last several months, or was it kind of already heading in that direction because of user needs already?
Yeah, I would say definitely head in that direction, already. Meaning, I think this has been a trend in the marketplace for quite some time. We looked early on. I mean, 4 laps around the park is a mile. I mean, as far as just thinking of, the opportunities to, to get out and exercise, and particularly this site. I mean, where else are you going to find, a wash park attached, to a project like this is? So I don't think there's any question that'll be a big attraction, for office users here. It's just to see the amenity, of, the bike path, the jogging path that's literally right outside your door. So I think we've seen that as a trend, in office now for probably, good five years. So I think it's just continuation.
Beautiful design. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I think we're going to transition the conversation over to Bo. Bo, are you ready?
I am ready. Can you hear me?
You are wonderful.
Okay, good. Whew. All right. So thank you, everybody. Do I have control? KJ?
Yes, you do. You do, Bo.
Okay, right on.
I'm going to put you back in full screen mode.
Okay, great. Thanks. So everybody, thank you. Really, I love this topic, and Julie and I and team, and I thank the Globe team and BDG and everyone else that have been a part of developing the library as well as the interior. So I'm Bo from Ryan Companies, Ryan A&E, and we been doing the design of the interiors and the community library. And I'm hoping that these controls work easily. Let's just see here.
So I'll navigate for you.
Yeah, okay. There you go. So real first, we spent a lot of time on the development of kind of what it meant for the interiors of the city hall, and how it meant for the interior quality of life for both the public and the staff. And one of the big drivers was to create a one-stop for all services. So this is actually a space on the second floor. After you come up through the main lobby, and this is where you get everything. You can come up here for any kind of, discussing your bill. You can do it for any kind of planning comments, engineering, permits, so on and so forth. And over on the left-hand side overlooks the beautiful park. So really, this is all about Goodyear designing a really very seriously convenient opportunity for the residents within the city of Goodyear. Go ahead, next. And then inside the building, as different areas of the building, we have these collaboration zones, kind of for staff and for the public. And then we have also a new city hall council chambers. So this is the council chambers floor plan. And you can go to the next slide. That's the image of our new council chambers. Beautiful, 150 seats. And then next to that is our workroom. So a workroom that's also very connected to the council for all the variety of different conversations about future growth and development within Goodyear. So next, our community library. So for those of you who have never been to the City of Goodyear Library, you need to go. The current one is absolutely a great little library. But I want to touch base really quickly why libraries are so important. So libraries are an engine for for an active and thriving community. The reality is thriving communities have active libraries, and Goodyear is a great example of that. Next. So I'm just going to hit on, I'm not going to go into the full conversation of this, I'm just going to hit in these high points. For those of you who haven't been in the library for a long time, I really recommend you get into a library. You'll blow your mind. They're nothing like they used to be. So they energize a community. They're about books, reading, and everything else. Libraries touch everything. Libraries are community builders. They're connectors across the valley. Libraries are community centers for diverse populations. Libraries are a center for the arts, music, dance, and fine arts, not only to enjoy them, but to learn them. Libraries are universities connected to the world. All around the world, you can connect to universities through libraries. Libraries champion of youth activity and imagination. Libraries are business engines and innovation hubs. You can come start your business and use a library as kind of the very, very beginning point of your business. Active and engaging libraries are the result of an active, thriving community. One needs the other. And I think the goal behind our new community library is to continue that growth that you're seeing within the City of Goodyear and basically try to be ahead of that growth for the library needs. Next slide. So just some quick stats, and Julie did mention this a little bit here. First off, Goodyear Community Library is part of the Maricopa Library District, County Library District, so it's one of many, many across the whole valley, which means they're a team. In fact, one big part of the design of our library was having big, huge counters in the back of house with bins that take books to prisons, they take books to other schools, they take books to other libraries. It's amazing what this little library is doing. It does have 142,000 patrons annually. It's growing. 10,000 active library cards. The industry standard, just for those interested, growth metric for libraries is 0.5 square feet per resident. So the reality is within 20 years, we're looking at 2 to 3 more libraries to accommodate the growth of Goodyear. And since 2010, Goodyear has grown at 34%, which just tells you that more libraries will be needed. The number one rule that we follow for designing a successful community library is community engagement. Number one rule has to start here. So what we did working with the team and the Parks and Rec team, we went and we met with folks. You see those little green dots? Those are actually dots from the community voting on different images. Over on the left is some stats about different interests and how they'd like to see the library designed. We had 3 separate meetings like this with the community, and really an incredibly useful way to actually get a good feel for what would be relevant to the community for our library. Next. So this is the entry as you come in from the north side. Terrazzo floors, acoustic fabric ceiling above the in that big disc, lit column, beautiful flexible book stacks. Over on the right-hand side, you might see a tree there. That's the children's library. Off in the blue wall in the distance is our cafe that actually then looks out to the park. Next. Yeah. This is as you come around that corner, you can kind of follow the lit column there. This takes you upstairs. This is the reading amphitheater and access to the second level. And again, on the right-hand side is the looking out to the park. You can see that daylight coming in. And once you get to the top of the stairs in the amphitheater, looking down in the library, beautiful curved stacks. You can see the similar disc up on the second level. This second level is all about study rooms, a little quieter activity, except for the teen area. This is right in front of us, in front of the little lady there. I think that this is a really fun, very fun space. Next slide. And this is over by the teen area looking down at the reading amphitheater. And again, on the right-hand side is the park. And you can see all the beautiful views that everyone will have from the amphitheater, from the intermediate landing there, as well as some of the other study areas up on the top. And that's it. Quick summary. Julie, anything you want to add?
Just, it's been a lot of fun working on the design with not only the Goodyear team, but your team. Truly a community effort. And again, when we look at amenities, whether it's for the City Hall employees or the office building employees, I mean, they're going to have so many different opportunities to, you know, just either go and hang out in the library and grab a coffee, or to sit outside under a tree. And so we just really feel we're creating this beautiful special place, and I love being a part of this team. So thank you.
Hey, Bo, I have a quick question. You did community outreach to try to get some feedback on some of the programming and what was important. Did you see any varying themes between kind of the younger and the more active adults, or was there more of a common theme?
There was pretty much a common theme, and just so you know, we went ahead and did a few things. We had an online survey that we sent out to everyone who had a library card, gathered that data, and then we also had in-person conversations and a dot, you know, as you can see the green dots. And out of all of that information, the common theme was, one, everyone really loves the library. There are people coming in there at least weekly. That's one common theme. The other common theme was they really were, you know, kind of lean toward really kind of a how do you put it? Very much a day-lit, light, energized space that's comfortable to read in and flexible for growth. And that was a big thing. And one of the other little comments was simply the fact that it was flexible and that it can grow with the community. And I think those are all kind of the common themes that we try to design around.
When you say flexible, you're talking about the way that you actually deliver the programming as the community grows and tastes change.
Yep. So and one thing very unique, or I should say unique to libraries. The libraries change all the time. So you really have to have a very good kind of program design that allows for that flexibility. So we have certain things like program rooms for the children's area, community room, that's very flexible, adaptable for the community's different uses. There's one thing that's actually underestimated about the existing community library at Goodyear is how much their community room is used. It's booked all the time with all sorts of events. Now with the addition of this bigger community room and the program room, that flexibility just for simply offering programs to the community is dramatically increased, as well as some of the other things that we've added in the library.
Really appreciate you kind of flushing that out. That's really wonderful to hear that you guys have put that type of forethought into the future use of the space. So speaking of the future, so Zach Pace with Phoenix Commercial Advisors is going to give us a sense of kind of what the existing and planned status of retail in this area is. And what's really interesting is one common theme we're hearing, whether it's employment or retail, is everybody wants these types of community amenities so they can better promote their projects. So Zach, if you're ready.
Well, yeah, Mike, this is Mike Olson. Ashley kind of jinxed this whole thing by putting up that computer glitch slide. Thanks, Ash, for doing that. You know, it just goes to show this is why we want to be together in groups so we don't have issues like this. But Zach has been having trouble getting his computer to dial in. So I've got him on the cell phone on mine, and he's going to talk through his slide through my cell phone, and hopefully everyone can hear him. Zach, appreciate you dialing in.
Yep, you got it, guys. And sorry for the technical difficulties. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep, out of my head.
Okay, perfect. So just a couple things. First of all, just to talk about retail in general. My office, we represent about 125 regional and national retailers and restaurants on an exclusive basis, from AMC Theaters, Costco, Kohl's, Staples, Bed Bath & Beyond, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, Chipotle, and kind of everybody in between. So we have a really good kind of pulse and handle on what is happening in the retail market today and the environment in Phoenix. And one of the biggest things that we've noticed in somewhat of a shift over the last couple of years is how many people we represent that are really looking for position on the west side. specifically the I-10 corridor out along at Goodyear, whether it's at Bullard and McDowell, Pebble Creek and McDowell. We just have started to see some real demand based on the amount of housing growth that's occurring out of that area. And then the employment growth that's occurring along the 303 is also a big amenity and a draw to a lot of these users that we work with. One of the things that we hear a lot about in our industry is mixed use, and that's kind of it's obviously it's a word that's been around for a long time, but it's definitely a very popular buzzword today because a lot of these retailers and restaurants, they want people living on site or very close. They want employment on site or very close. And so, these mixed use products that we're seeing developed now have much more sustainability and seem to be much more of a draw and something that these retailers and restaurants want to be part of because of the synergy that's brought in by multiple asset classes into one project. And so that's been a big focus for a lot of our groups is they're looking at different opportunities on the west side is where is the next big mixed use project or where is the density, whether it's employment, additional, residential, high density residential, that they can, take advantage of. So I think that as things continue to progress out on the west side, and you're starting to see a lot more notoriety with some of these, higher end groups, like I'll just mention, Fox Restaurant Groups. We do a lot of work with Sam, and we have done a lot of work with Sam over the years. And, for him to be looking at, potentially doing something out on the west side, to me speaks volumes to, what's occurring out there, not only just from a growth standpoint, but quality of jobs, which is bringing more income to the area. And so we're just starting to see a much better story to tell as we're touring and bringing, either existing restaurants that we represent or retailers that are here on the, to the west side, or new groups that aren't in the Phoenix market, and they're looking to a first to market location. This is going to be kind of top 5 somewhere out in this area just because of the amount of growth that's occurring. So we're very bullish on it, and we're excited to be, hopefully doing a lot more in Goodyear and on the west side. So, if anybody has any questions, let me know.
Thanks, Zach.
Yep.
Zach, thank you so much. I really love hearing that some of. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's great to hear some of the restaurateurs are starting to look at the West Valley as really kind of the next place to be. Are you seeing any interest coming out of Arizona from groups that are identifying this as an underserved market as well?
I lost you there.
I apologize.
Sorry, Zach. He's asking if Mike's asking if you're seeing any underserved, particularly underserved segments in the West Valley.
I think that, we have. I mean, I think that in general, more entertainment and better quality restaurants, right? So I think a lot of the chain restaurants that are represented on the west side, and we see that in a lot of these markets, whether it's, Goodyear, Avondale, Tolleson, even Surprise, as a very good representation of a lot of the national chains. And so it's more of the regionals, what we kind of consider the chef-driven concepts, the farm-to-table concepts, getting groups like that to come in and get involved and be in these communities and open and operate in these communities, because to me that is, it establishes the neighborhoods. It's my Postinos, it's my Vig. It really, creates an identity for these people that live out in these areas. And so for that reason, I think those kinds of concepts are really what's needed, and in an area that's completely, underserved out on the west side. And then I mentioned entertainment. You've got Main Event back at 99th and McDowell, but we're starting to hear about other cool entertainment concepts where it's more of an experience that can draw in people. And I've seen stuff in some of the markets I've traveled to where like these guys are doing a dog park with a really cool dog park that's got a restaurant component as part of it, as an example. So there's things like that. I think that people are going to continue to be creative and developing, and with the availability of land and what I would kind of consider to be low barriers to entry on the west side to be able to go out and find opportunities, to me that's something that is definitely needed out there.
Thank you, Zach. And I agree, and we're excited to get more amenities into the West Valley. So I'm gonna, if any of our panelists have any kind of final comments, we're gonna wrap this up. Feel free to just pipe in. If not, I'd like to thank everyone.
Nothing for me, Mike. Thanks for moderating today.
Thank you. And I think this was our largest cohort of presenters, and we did it in an hour. So it says a lot about our collaboration and partnerships. So Cathie, Mike, George, Julie, Jeff, Ashley, Bo, and Zach, thank you for just a wonderful overview of just an incredible, I would argue, transformative project for the West Valley. And we look forward to watching the project grow and supporting your efforts. Centra, did you want to finish up?
Yeah, just echo your thanks. We're excited that we had so many folks on the line today, from board members, elected officials. It was really cool. So I think you can all tell, George, that we're really excited about this project. George and Julie, very, very excited about this project, and you guys are really the catalyst for the West Valley. So join us next month. We will continue this. We are featuring Lincoln Properties, and they will be featured same time, same bat channel on November 17th. So look out for that. And again, thanks, Mike, for doing such a great job. All of you for coming together, and of course, KJ, the puppeteer behind the scenes. So thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Bye.